Aging with confidence and avoiding toxic beauty standards and jealous people. Now, for some reason, this is something that is very hard to grasp to some people. They just want to keep up with the trends, no matter if it's going to harm them or not. They are willing to keep up with these trends. And some of them just don't accept the fact that they are aging. And aging is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, I wasn't going to talk about this because it does go in through one ear and out the other, but I saw something recently of this woman. Her name is Lin May. She is a burlesque dancer. She's a Chinese American woman. Chinese American. No, she's Chinese Mexican. And she been burlesque dancing since the 70s, and she's been in movies, and she was just a bombshell. Now in the 90s, she was afraid that she was going to get kicked out of the industry because of her aging, and her friend at the time, which she didn't know, was jealous of her. Her friend was like, girl, I know someone that would do this Botox, and you'll be looking really good, this, that, and the third. So she convinced Lynn to get this Botox, and this shady ass doctor had injected baby oil and I think some thick cooking oil into her face, and her face just blew the frick up. And now she has this huge head, and she's been living with this for since the 90s up until now. And she's accepted it. She's learned to have fun with it instead of walking around all depressed. And that's really good for her. However, it's like, damn, that all could have been prevented. And I'm going to talk about that in this video. So, how to prevent yourself from falling into your own demise because you want to look 21 years old forever, you want to keep up with the beauty standards, and you are willing to harm yourself to keep up with the Joneses. First and foremost, you have to allow yourself to age. Allow yourself to age, and some people are not willing to accept that, especially women, because when it comes to beauty, that is like our prized possession. And a lot of women start off at like 14, 15 years old, already putting on makeup, trying to look like a bombshell at 17 years old. And that is so wild to me. And by the time you are like 30 years old, you are already looking washed out. I know this because I am 30 years old, and most girls that I grew up with, they look very washed out, and their hair is thinning and the whole 9 yards because they started off so young trying to look like a bombshell at like 17, 18. You gotta allow yourself to just be young while you can and just age gracefully, because by you rushing it, you're rushing the whole age process. Now, when it comes to makeup, I don't wear makeup. The most I'll put on is like a lip gloss or lipstick, and I'll just throw on some like aloe gel and hemp seed oil on my skin, and I am good to go. So I don't wear makeup. But the thing is, I'm into the arts and I understand self expression, and makeup is a form of self expression. But when you do it every day, when you put on makeup every day, you're not getting your skin a chance to breathe. So therefore, by the time you are 30, you are already looking older than the 50-year-olds. And that is just crazy to me. Now, yes, I'm 30, but it's so funny. A lot of people assume I'm like 20, 21 years old. The youngest I've gotten is 17, 18. Some 24-year-olds think I'm younger than them. Last week, this girl, she assumed I was like 17 years old, and I was like, oh, no, 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 no. I am old enough to be your big sister. And I don't like telling people my age because of that. Like, I don't care that I'm getting older. It's a blessing to grow old every day. I don't care about aging. But the thing is, it's the fact that people assume that I'm like 20 years old or something like that, especially when I'm like a little bit more conserved, dressed down, when I'm not like looking like this. Some people assume I'm like 17, 18. So therefore, I get to get away with certain privileges. Um, Adults just look at me like, oh, it's okay, sweetie, it's okay. So I get away with certain things. But I am 30 years old. And besides from genetics, I believe it's because that I don't wear makeup that I still have this, I guess, look, so to speak. Next up in the whole preventing yourself from your own demise is staying away from these beauty trends, because beauty trends come and go, and you'll be chasing all these trends and you'll never be able to reach it, because when one trend is done, another trend is starting, and you are putting yourself more and more at risk by chasing all these trends. And you're never going to look like the next baddest bitch that you see on Instagram, because there's always something new. You gotta accept just being who you are and working with what you already have. An example I'm going to give, because there's so many examples, I'm gonna just give one. So there's this new trend coming along, and it's about having thinner lips. Big lips is out, thinner lips is in, because women were getting these lip injections, and the whole aftermath of it is not a pretty sight. So now women are accepting to be, more natural. And when it comes to lips, because ever since I was like in middle school, I would get made fun of not having the most plumpest of lips. And little did these girls know, I do not give a shit. I like being in my own bubble, and I do not care for trends. But since this thinner lip trend is making its way in and it suits my identity, I still do not care. I do not care. And yeah, I just do not care. So my thing is even when the trend suits you, do not get a big head over it, because when that trend is done, another trend is going to start. And when you are trying to keep up with the Joneses, you are going to put yourself at risk. And the thing is, this is something we all know, but people do it anyway. And I feel like it becomes a sickness at some point, because why are you willing to put your life on the line in order to stay on top? It's never that deep. Next up on preventing yourself from your own demise is staying away from jealous women. Now, there is so much to say about that. I have stories for days, starting from middle school on up. I will be here all day talking about this, but just basically to make it short, stay away from jealous women. Even though you might be a girl's girl and you like hanging out and being with the crew, if you sense your friends being jealous of you, don't try to dumb yourself down for them, or things of that sort, because it's still not going to work out well for you. Jealousy is a disease for a reason. And when someone is jealous of you, they will do things like what happened to Lynn May, where her friend convinced her, oh, yeah, girl, go to this doctor. That shady doctor had put baby oil and whatever else into that injection thing, whatever the heck they use. And now she has to live with, I don't want to talk bad about her, but she has to live with her head being overly huge. Um, so yeah, like when you hear stories like that, it's obvious to stay away from jealous women. But for some reason, women don't want to do that. It's like you have to be in the crowd, or I don't know. I don't know, because I've been around girls like that, where it's just like, it's too toxic. But they rather stay in the toxic than to have a peace of mind. It's weird to me. And what helped me was backing up. Like, I care about myself. I don't want to put myself at risk of being around anyone that's going to harm me. So if you get censored, stay away from them, no matter how much you want to do a girls night or whatever. It's way more peaceful than ended up getting hurt in the long run. Last thing I'm going to say in this whole preventing yourself from your own demise because you want to keep up with the Joneses and keeping up with these beauty standards and willing to put yourself at risk for beauty. This is so funny because I'm a YouTuber saying this, but be cautious of the women who preach about femininity on YouTube. I don't feel, because I've seen a few, and I find some of them genuine and I find some of them very phony. And certain things that they say, I feel like they don't even know what they mean when they say that. Like, for instance, I've heard some of them use things like using beauty as a weapon. I don't like that whole term or the ideology of using beauty as a weapon, because when you think of weapons, when you think of drawing a weapon, using a weapon, the reason why you're using that weapon is because you have a enemy. So when you are using your beauty as a weapon, you are subconsciously walking in the world as the world is the enemy. And whatever guy you are seeking out, he is a enemy that you are trying to conquer. Um, Whatever you want to use your beauty for, you're seeing that person or that thing as the enemy. And I don't think that's a positive way to walk around um as. And that's just my opinion. Now, I do feel like you can use beauty as self-expression, use it as a tool, put some intent to it, um use it as like a story or whatever. But to use it as a weapon, I don't know about that, because when you're using it as a weapon, you are going to attract enemies, and that's just negative energy, and that's my opinion. So be cautious of some of the women that you watch on YouTube preaching this whole femininity stuff. You need to develop your own ways of thinking and what is feminine to you. And yeah, I could talk about that in another video because I have a lot to say about that. But that is all for this video. I hope I made sense, because sometimes I feel like I just don't be making sense, but I hope I made sense in this video.